Okay, everybody, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we actually create a campaign in MindFire, and I'll show you the process behind the scenes, exactly how we do it here, and some of the tips and tricks that'll help get you there faster and get you more engagement on your OptiChannel campaigns, okay? So the first thing I'm going to show you here, just a little tip. This is something that we've used for a while. It's free, doesn't cost anything. Head over to hemingwayapp.com. And this is really useful when you're starting to write your copy. So if this is an email or for a landing page or for a LinkedIn post, any one of these channels where you're trying to communicate, you want to make sure that obviously, for the most part, you've eliminated any major errors in your writing, which is what I'm about to do here. But also, the little tip that I want to give you is if you look over here on the right-hand side, it has built into it this readability index. And if you do any research on the average American, which is salient for this particular campaign I'm doing here, um, the average reading level is pretty low. So I'm usually trying to get this, believe it or not, to around a second or third grade reading level. Right now we're a little high. Okay, we're at the sixth grade reading level. Typically, when I start something, I'm postgraduate or like 12th grade, something like that. So I really need to work on bringing this down before I bring it into MindFire. The other thing that's helpful here is it gives me an idea as to how hard some of these sentences are to read. And so right now, one of these sentences is hard to read. It's this one right here. I'm going to work on that in a moment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be back in just one second and show you where we ended up, okay? Okay, so that took me about maybe 10 minutes to do here. And I'm still at a grade 5, but I'll show you often what the case is that someone's title is too fancy dancy. So if I pull that out, look, down to a grade 3. And for the purposes of what I want to show you here, that's good enough, okay? So I've got my copy. I typically start in something like this in Hemingway or a notepad. That's all you need. And now I'm going to show you how to pull this over into MindFire. All right, so here I am inside of MindFire DaVinci. I'm going to go ahead and click on create a new campaign. And I'm going to use the drive traffic blueprint because I want to send it to folks to the webinar registration page, which is hosted in Zoom. So I'll go ahead and give that a name. I'm going to call it the 2020 USPS postage promotions and hit let's go. All right, so now what I need to do is firstly, in step 1 here, I need to identify the call to action where I'm trying to send folks. And that is this link here. So I'm going to copy that, bring it back over into DaVinci, paste that in, and go ahead and add that as the destination. So everything that DaVinci is going to help me do here through his OptiChannel magic is going to be pointing folks to that URL. So I'll go ahead and hit save. That's the Zoom URL that you see here, which allows people to register. So for this simple example here, I'm just going to push everyone over to this page and let them register. So step 1 is done. And now what I need to do is configure the message that I'm going to be sending folks. And so I'll go back into Hemingway. This is the subject line I'm going to use. I'm going to copy that, put it right here. I hit save. I removed the pre-header because I'm actually going to do this as a text email. So I'll show you that template over here. It's one of my favorites. It's this one right here. And the reason I use this particular template is that it has a big font. And for the folks that are probably, let's say, under 40, you probably look at this font and think, that's a little big. If you're 40 and up, you're probably thinking, not too bad. And if you're maybe 60, 70 or up, you're thinking, wow, that's a little small. So the reason why we do this again is because we got to put ourselves in the shoes of the reader. On our cell phones, this is much easier to read, and even on the desktop, this is a much easier size. So that's what I typically do. I'm going to come back here over to my email. I'm going to capture, let's see, I'll copy it to right there. I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of this text here. I go right into the HTML and just paste it right in, just like that. And you need to know if just a small little bit of HTML, folks. Don't be scared. Come on, you can handle this. 2 BR tags, 2 breaks. Just write that, copy it, put it after every line. Just see what I'm doing here. Like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. And I always forget, but yeah, I'll put one right there. So now, as you can see, I've got the email here, the first part of it. This click here is the call to action. So I wrote that here. Click here to save your seat now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, put it right here. I will probably rewrite that. Click here to save your seat now. Put it like that, make it bold. Come back here, grab the bottom portion of it and put that right here. Usually I put, again, 2 BRs right here, 2 line breaks. Don't freak out, nothing complicated. I prefer to go right into the HTML, makes it cleaner and easier for me to go edit, but you could certainly do that right through the WYSIWYG interface there. And I think we're good to go. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to remove one of the BRs here. I want to move that up just a little bit. And so you can see we got the spacing a little bit better there. So I usually give it a quick read through. First name, real quick. Are you up to date on the 2020 postage savings from USPS? Everything looks fairly good here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now what I do is I come over here to test and I send myself a test of this email. That was just sending myself here to this email address, the copy here. So I go over to my email. You'll see a bunch of my junk in here. And there we go. So 2020 USPS postage promotions is the subject. Okay, David, real quick, are you up to date? Also, what I'm doing right now, you can't see me doing this, but I'm going over to my cell phone and I'm looking at it there just to make sure everything looks okay. I'm opening it up now on my cell phone. And I want this to actually, some of you are probably thinking, man, this is kind of an ugly email. You know what, folks? Ugly usually does better. And so you should test that for yourself, test it for your own brand. But these quickly written text emails do really quite well for us. So yeah, looking at it here on my cell phone, everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and click this link, just test that. This is what should take me over to Zoom. Boom, we're in Zoom. Okay, so everything looks good there. Typically, I write a PS here. I'm not sure if I'll do that now. I'm in. This is also another little tactic. If you write something like this, folks, you'd be surprised how many people reply back to your emails. Try it. You'll be amazed. I'm going to bold that so people see that and do a few other things. So I'm going to pause here and then be right back. Okay, so all I did while you were gone, or while I was gone, I should say, is I bolded this text here. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And I want to do 2 more things and show you something that I typically do. In this subject line here, this is the first thing we need to do to make sure folks actually engage with our emails. I have been recently using an emoticon inside of that email. And so in the sense that we're saving folks money here, what would be appropriate? I'm going to search for money, um, some sort of alarm. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for right now. Again, all we're trying to do is we're just trying to stand out and look a little bit different than other emails to catch the eye. So we're going to go ahead and try that for right now. Now what I want to show you is I want to put and I know this sounds strange, folks, this is counterintuitive, but I'm going to go ahead and put an image down here, a header image at the bottom of the email. You got to be willing to try different things, folks. Some of what I'm doing is out of experience in creating some really engaging campaigns. So I'm going to come back here. Rael is the person I've been working with on the other end, and she has sent over a few images. I think this is probably a good one. Yeah, I like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to download that, and I've got that here on my computer now. I'm going to go back into DaVinci, and what I typically do is come over here into the asset library. Just go into the asset library where I can store all sorts of content, and I will upload that image here. Yep, and here it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert that, and you'll see it'll think for a second, and then it'll be right there. What I do is I come over here, I grab the location. This is the reference to the image as it's hosted inside of MindFire, and come right back to my email, drop down to this section here. This is where I want to put the image. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to, again, folks, don't be scared. These are simple, simple tags. You need to know these things. This puts your text in italics. P.S. I'm going to write something clever there in a second, so put something here. But what I really want to show you is that I'm going to put the image here. Whoopsie. And again, you can do this all through the WYSIWYG editor. I prefer just to drop right down into the HTML and take control, but you could do it either way. So I'm going to put that image. I just pasted the reference to the image I uploaded, and boom, there we go. Okay, so that's the cool looking invitation. And what I'll probably do is copy this link right up here. And sometimes people have trouble hitting these buttons, hitting these links up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, P.S. Make sure to grab a Zoom seat, and I'll put it like that. Before we run out. And I will put another break right there. So I'm just going to give people another way to get to that location, and I will do it like this. Again, this is nothing magical here, folks. This is just creating a simple link. Everybody should know how to do that. If you don't, let me know. I'll help you out, teach you where to Google it. So it says, P.S. Make sure to grab a Zoom seat before we run out of space. I'll just say that. Okay, and there we go. I'm going to go ahead and do another test and send it to myself and come back to my email. I always delete the old one. Try to delete it before it comes in. There we go. So you can see it's got the little bell. Looks a little different. Here we go. Here's the email. I'm going to look at it right now on my cell phone. Just make sure that it looks okay. Yep, looks cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on pause again, and just for the sake of accuracy, I'm going to read this through myself without wasting your time, and then I'll be right back. Okie dokie, folks, everything looks good. I only made a few small changes. I added this PS down here saying, how much direct mail do you send? The postage discounts we're sharing can be significant. Make sure to grab a Zoom seat. Left everything else the same. All right. So that's that. And now all we need to do is set our notifications and alerts. Typically, what I like to do is notify myself. I turn those on so that at the beginning, at least, I know things are working. These are the notifications that the software will send me, letting me know when folks are opening and visiting my target URL. So typically what I do, just to stay kind of in tune with things, I'll turn those on and then I'll turn them off once I see everything kind of flowing through. So I did that. Okay, so all I have left to do at this point is schedule the email, and I'm going to go ahead and send it now. So I have a list of print-related folks that I think might be interested in this. I already know the name of that list. I have it here in my smart list. This is basically a intelligent list that DaVinci creates for me of folks that are in the print community with senior titles. I've got a good number of those. And what's cool is I've got 8,600 people. 6,000 of those have good email addresses. DaVinci has gone through and figured that out for me. So I'm going to go ahead and send that now, and go ahead and hit save, and we are good to go. So folks, there in a few minutes, what I showed you is first of all how I write copy, and do that using Hemingway app. Just go to hemingwayapp.com. Then fire up DaVinci, and I showed you how to set your call to action, how to configure your outbound message, how to set the notifications and alerts, and then finally set your email and fire that baby out. So those are the 4 steps that you need to take. You can see DaVinci guided my hand each step of the way, and we're good to go. So let me know if that's been useful to you. Let me know any questions that you have, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.